All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening. Welcome. The Hawaii Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is proud to present in collaboration with the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center, Say No to Vaping. Um, we ask that you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the wealth of information that is coming forth from our presenters. This is our second time working with these presenters, and they are phenomenal and are full of information. We will have a Q&A session at the end, so you're more than welcome to gather your questions and your thoughts and throw them in the chat, and we will definitely be sure to attend to those questions in the end. First, I would like to start off by reading a couple of notices. And then after that, we will have a message from the Hawaii Alumni Chapter President, Soror Monique Augusta. In accordance with the terms of the participation agreement, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Delta, will be filming, recording, and photographing this event for use in Delta promotional videos, photography, advertisements, social media platforms, web pages, and other future Delta events, as the case may be. The production. As specified in the participation agreement, participant and participant's parent or guardian, participant and participant's parent or guardian together, via continued participation in and by continuing to remain logged into this event, hereby, 1, acknowledges that participant may be photographed, filmed, or otherwise recorded while on the premises of the event. 2, grants Delta, its successors, assigns, and licensees irrevocable consent to record in the production or for exploitation. Irrevocable consent to include participants' name, likeness, photographic image, mannerisms, and voice or other recording media in the production or for exploitation for any purpose whatsoever in any and all media now known or hereafter devised throughout the universe in perpetuity without compensation and or credit. 3, represents, warrants, and agrees that Delta holds and shall forever hold all display, publication, and ownership rights, licenses, and privileges to any and all media, whether in law or in equity, which may be asserted and ascertained, registered, or in any way utilized with respect thereto, rights. And 4, waives, releases, and transfers, as the case may be, any and all such rights, whether in law or equity, as may be necessary or required to effectuate Delta's establishment or ownership. Participant further agrees to abide by and comply with any and all terms of use and or additional participation rules as applicable and specified during relevant sections of the program, and acknowledge, understands, and agrees that violation of such participation rules shall result in legal recourse and disciplinary actions. Next slide, please. So just a brief overview of the agenda, and now I will turn it over to Miss Monique Augusta.
Aloha, sorors, family, friends. Good to see Malia and Blaine again from the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Center. So good to see you folks. You look beautiful in your haku. Is that right? You look beautiful, Malia. Beautiful. Wear it, child. Look good. Anyways, thank you everybody for joining us this evening. You're in for a treat. Malia and Blaine never fail us. It's good information to learn about vaping and the causes and effects to your health. We look forward to doing more work with you in the future, Malia and Blaine. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the Physical and Mental Health Committee to put this program together. We hope everyone enjoys. Again, Ashley said, put your questions in the chat and enjoy the program.
Thank you, Sora Augusta. And just a few housekeeping rules before we begin. Um, just make sure that we are mindful and respectful of the presenters. There should be no outside conversation going on in the chat. Please reserve that for just questions in regards to the presentation. Um, while the presentation is going on, we do ask that you put your audio on mute, not to cause any interference as well. If you have to step away, you may definitely do so, and stop your video if you need to. We just ask that you be respectful of our presenters at all times. I know you will, just kind of standard to say that. Once again, I now present to you all Ms. Malia Augustin and Mr. Blaine Garcia. They both are, I want to get this correct as I say it, sorry. They both are certified tobacco treatment specialists, health educators, and research assistants with the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center, school-based health centers. They did a phenomenal job with our COVID-19 symposium, bringing it down to a local level. So once again, they are back. We do appreciate the both of you for being willing to take this time out. They also have some peer presenters as well. We do welcome you also. So I will turn it over to Blaine and Malia. Everybody sit back and enjoy.
Aloha, mai kako. Thank you so much for the introduction, Miss Monique and Miss Ashley. We really appreciate you guys. It is a pleasure to be back. And we are going to go ahead and start off this health education forum for saying no to vaping and helping you folks to better understand the risks and things that occur when we choose to vape and how that impacts your body. So hopefully you guys will learn something new from us. And we do have a wonderful youth presenter, our youth leader, Keala Ford. She's the Na'opio Ho'okipuhi Paka leader, and she's a youth against, the translation is Youth Against Tobacco. So we will give her a chance to introduce herself. So my name's Miss Malia Augustin. I'm a graduate of Nanakuli High and Intermediate School. Afterwards, I went to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, got my bachelor's degree in kinesiology and rehabilitation science, and now work with the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center as a health educator and research assistant. So thank you for that introduction. It's my honor and pleasure to give back to our community in our state of Hawaii to help people to really learn how to better their future, the future of the next generation, and we want to see our people thrive. And so that's really the whole goal with the work that we do. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Blaine to introduce himself, and then to our youth leader, Keala.
Aloha mai kako. It's good to see some familiar faces again in this session, and we're grateful to be here. And hopefully we can all learn something new together, because as we know, with e-cigarette products and tobacco products is forever changing, just like how this pandemic has been forever changing for us and the society that we're living in today. So we'll try to connect a lot of the stuff together in the information. I do want to say that it is a lot of information, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to put that in the chat as we go along, but we'll try to address them as we go along. So aloha, my name is Blaine Garcia. I'm a proud resident of the Waianae community, born and raised, still live out here in Waianae, proud graduate of Waianae High School as well. So I myself went to the University of Hawaii at Manoa, where I got my bachelor's in microbiology, and then soon after finished my master's in public health with a specialty in Native Hawaiian Indigenous health, and also a graduate certificate from the Johnny Burns School of Medicine in tropical medicine, which really focuses on infectious disease control. So a little undercover side note, this pandemic has been very exciting for me, because we can finally apply the skills that we've learned when it comes to infection control and public health in that sense. So I'm here to answer questions about that if you folks have that too. Kiala?
Aloha mai kako o California ko inoa no nanakuli mai au. Aya au I ka papa umikumalua. Aya au I ke kula o Kapolei Charter. Hello everyone, my name is Calla Ford. I'm currently a senior attending Kapolei Charter School. And I think what Miss Blaine, Miss Malia and Mr. Blaine have been doing is awesome. I'm glad that we have youth participating in our current overall group, which is known as New Health. And with the group that I'm with specifically that focuses on vape prevention, I think that having more and more students, we have students from grades, I think 6 to 12 currently in our group, and it is important to have that view of what's happening within our community, and having that youth perspective to really help people to understand where we're coming from, at least with the youth, and like what's going on within our community.
So we have a quick video that we want to share with you folks, kind of introducing a little bit of the work that the youth are doing within the community.
Aloha! We are Naopio Ovaina, and we stand for a healthier future. As the upcoming generation of the 21st century, we are the pioneers of how we want our future to look. All the other generations had their chance. Now it's our turn.
We believe that life has its ups and downs, and that we will all go through good times and tough times.
We inspire hope by focusing on stories of strength rather than on stories of trauma.
Our mission is to spread hope, help, and strength in every corner of our community.
We are sources of strength. In Waianae, there's limited access to healthy food locations and an excess of fast food locations that contributes to chronic health issues like diabetes, heart problems, and childhood obesity.
Our mission is to promote healthy activities to lead youth to utilize a healthier place for a healthier lifestyle.
We urge youth. The tobacco industry has taken so much from us. It's about time that we took back.
Vape is like a sharp love. It's permanent.
Our mission is to take a proactive role in advocating to prevent vaping amongst youth by promoting educational material, peer-to-peer education, and empowering youth to just say no to vaping.
We are Youth Against Tobacco. We provide health services for youth, including primary care, immunizations, behavioral health, and health education. Conveniently at Waianae High, Waianae Intermediate, Nanakuli High and Intermediate school campuses.
Our mission is to change trajectories for the social determinants of health, impacting our youth and community.
We are school-based health centers. We are a diverse and multicultural community with tenacious multi-generational families and strong cultural roots.
Our mission is to stop the spread of COVID-19 in our communities and in Hawaii.
We will come together to do what we can to beat this virus.
We are the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center.
We deserve to live in a healthy world, and we are responsible for creating it.
We demand this basic human right be accessible to our historically underserved community.
We see a healthy Waianae, a Waianae with access to the help that is here.
We Naopio o Waianae Ola are starting a movement called New Health, which seeks to achieve this grand vision through youth empowerment and outreach.
Join us in creating a healthier environment for all generations to come. Let's work together. We are New Health.
All right. So we're going to jump straight into the agenda. We're going to do our Stanford Toolkit registration and kind of get you guys the access that you need in order to get your certification. So this was one of the wonderful parts with you folks being on with us today, is that at the end, when you finish your modules online, we'll be able to send you a certificate that you can then include on your resume, your college applications. And it's just awesome that you guys will have this certification to be able to show that you are certified in tobacco and vaping, youth vaping, for the Stanford Toolkit. Then we have our presentation, which Mr. Blaine, myself, and Keala will be doing. We will take a short break and give you guys a little bit of time to stretch your legs, because this is a lot of information that we're going to be sharing. Please be engaged. We will have some discussion, and we want to hear from you guys. The youth and your voice is so important. And so please don't be afraid to talk on camera with us and have some engagement. We really would love to hear your voices at the end when we have a discussion. So this is our registration. If you guys, I'm gonna put the link in the chat for you. And you guys will need to go to this site, use the email address that was sent to register with us here, and insert this information. So this is what the registration will look like when you press the link. You'll enter your email, your first and last name, your email, make sure you're under Hawaii, and this is your password. So everyone will have the same password as you register. So the password is healthy 2021 exclamation point. Okay, and then once you register, you'll receive this notification. It says thank you for registering, and then it'll take you to your course. So once you're entered into the course, you can go ahead and press take this course. This is no charge to you. And you'll be able to see the learning modules, and it's pretty much everything that we're going to be sharing with you in our presentation today as a review. So there's a little quiz at the end to just help with understanding that you guys know the information that we taught you today. And then you can participate in these activities, and then the assessment questions will be at the end of each module. So altogether, there's a total of 5 modules, and upon completion of this this Stanford Toolkit module, the admin will let us know that you've completed all 5 modules, and then we'll be able to send you your certificate of completion by email individually. Does anyone have any questions before we move into our module segments? Okay. We can review this again at the end if you guys have questions about certification. So this is what the certificate will look like. It'll have your name and then our signatures here. And we can go ahead and get started.
Alrighty, are we ready to kickstart some information and public health information on e-cigarettes and Vape 101? So again, it's going to be a lot of information, and don't be shamed, don't be shy to participate. There's no right or wrong answers on any of the questions that we may ask you guys. We want you guys to be engaged with us, especially the youth, be engaged with us, because we're really learning more from you folks and what you guys are really seeing in the community. So you guys are actually helping us learn together. So we'll go ahead and get started.
So today we're going to be discussing e-cigarettes, vapes, pens, and these pens are also known as vapes, e-hookahs, vape pens, mods, and vaping devices. So specifically, we're going to learn about the different parts of the e-cigarettes. Then we're going to learn a little bit about what's inside of them, and that it actually isn't simply just water vapor. So we'll talk about the risks involved with using e-cigarettes, and then explore some ways that vape pen companies target youth. And this is a very important part about it, so that you can understand that you're actually being targeted as a younger person.
Yeah, so we're gonna kickstart off with the basics of it, and that's really breaking down the anatomy of the e-cigarette. So e-cigarettes have many shapes and sizes. They come in many different shapes and forms. So we'll try to break down the general basics of it, but they all have the same components. So here's just a generic cross section of an e-cigarette. So an e-cigarette is composed of a battery, an atomizer, cotton like cloth or coil, and an absorbent material. So what the battery does is it will heat up the atomizer and the coil which has the absorbent material kind of like wrapped around it. So as that's heating, it kind of heats up the liquid. So that's what gets the e-liquid, that vaping effect. So that's what individuals are consuming as that process is heating up. So that heating or that liquid that they're inserting comes in many shapes and flavors that we're going to share. But it also, the main thing that we're going to emphasize, is that it contains the nicotine addictive factor or the chemical aspect of it. So that's kind of how the e-cigarette works. And then I'll share a little bit more about the different sizes that we'll display for you folks. So as we know, tobacco, if you ask some of your grandparents in your family and talk about tobacco, everyone knows what tobacco is, and it started off with cigarettes, general cigarettes. It's still there. But as you can see in these photos, how these tobacco companies are getting more smart. They're becoming more tech savvy. They're trying to keep up to date with the trends that's happening in society. So they're creating more products to really keep people more hooked and addicted to their products. So they're having that constant cycle of people being addicted to it and then buying more and consuming more of their products as it evolves. So as Ms. Malia mentioned, we have some variations. We'll start off with the e-hookah. So if you're not familiar with a hookah, the general hookah is like this big tower looking thing. It looks like a lamp. There's a top part that people use coils to heat up tobacco, and there's like this long fancy holes that people partake in, and that's what a hookah is. But so now they became a little clever. They try to make things more convenient for those to carry it with them and take it with them wherever. So they created these e-hookah pens. So that's how they would hook people who were addicted to the hookah mechanisms of smoking tobacco and getting that sensation from the nicotine. So they would create these e-hookah devices that they could actually take with them on the go. So these devices are disposable. So you'd buy a pack of them. Once you're done with them, you kind of just dispose of it and then you just start again. So it's really that ongoing cycle, right? And then you don't have to do all that mess of, setting up everything and stuff. So it really is become a product that has become cheaper and more convenient for individuals, which is really scary and sad. And then we have other products called Eagles or tanks. So these are like a little bit of the e-cigarette devices, but the battery components and the coil components are a little bit more enlarged. And what a dangerous aspect of these devices is the larger that the battery gets and the larger that the coils get, people are able to load these devices more with e-juice. So they're getting a higher concentration, higher consumption of these e-juices and dangerous levels of all these chemicals that they're consuming and all these high levels of nicotine in them. But another dangerous aspect of it is a lot of the individuals who sell tanks or mods, they're not engineers or they're not manufacturers that can really break down the components of heating and all that stuff. So if you look on the news or do a quick Google search, you'll see that a lot of individuals have ended up in the ER because these mods or tanks would actually explode because individuals are remodifying these devices to really heat up that coil and get that e-liquid juice burning faster, so that way they could consume. And everything's aesthetic, right? Nowadays you see people that they like to do all those cloud effects and stuff, so it would allow them to breathe out bigger clouds. And there was actually vape competitions pre-COVID, so things like that would make it more dangerous because of the aspect of them increasing the battery size and capacity to heat up these devices. And this is what they kind of look like. So it's kind of odd. I mean, and they're really huge pieces. Like you look at like an iPhone size, a general iPhone size. Some mods are really the size of your iPhone if you ever seen any of those. So it's a huge battery, and just imagine that thing exploding in your face. And there's actually some horrific images that you can see from people having that accidents happen with them when they're consuming vape liquid on these mods and tanks. It's very dangerous products. And then of course the e-juice, right? So we'll emphasize a lot of aspect of our focus on the e-juice because this is a product that's not FDA regulated. It contains tons and tons and tons of chemicals. More literature is coming out in scientific research that's showing that there's more carcinogens, there's more toxins that they're finding in these products. And we'll try to break down some of these toxins and some of these chemicals that is found in these e-juices and relate them to stuff that we commonly know around our household or that we see in the environment. But the main ingredients of an e-juice is the propylene glycol, They use vegetable glycerin because some local e-cigarette companies, they try to advertise the vegan aspect, right? You know, everyone's on those trendy diets like the keto diet and all that stuff. So they try to capture people who are like vegans and stuff by including the vegetable glycerin aspect of it. And then of course the nicotine and then the flavoring components. And another aspect that we're gonna emphasize on is e-cigarettes just vapor? So it's not just vapor. So we're gonna really break down the aspect and definitions of what gas is, what vapor is, and what aerosol is. So we'll try to hopefully get you guys to understand the big differences between that because it's not vapor. And the common messaging that we've been hearing and that you may know of is when it comes to these products, right? They say that it's safe to be used in restaurants or in closed spaces with others is because it's vapor and it just dissipates in air. So that's not true, and it's been proven that these e-cigarettes, when the smoke is blown out, it's not vapor, but it's actually aerosol. So we'll talk a little bit more about why these products are dangerous and why is it when it comes to aerosol and how that is dangerous. So here you can see a long list of some components of chemicals that is found in these e-juices or e-cigarettes. There's a lot of metals that you may see here that you may, if you're taking chemistry in school, you can see some of them are on the periodic table like copper, boron, selenium, arsenic. So these are all different metals and traces of stuff that they found in it. But in addition, there's other chemicals, and these are just the common ones that are always found in these products, but the list can go on. And you know, within cigarettes itself, there's 7,000 chemicals that's been found in cigarettes and e-cigarettes. So the list can really go on. But I believe in the next slide, I want to connect some of these things to kind of get you guys an idea of where these chemicals really are coming from and what they're really used for. So we'll start with propylene glycol. So propylene glycol is most commonly known as antifreeze. So antifreeze is that fluorescent green liquid that you may see in a parking lot sometime when someone pulls away from the grocery store. You see that puddle of that fluorescent green fluid on the ground. So that's your antifreeze. The antifreeze is put into the radiator of your car, and that really helps your car from not overheating. So it's that fluorescent green liquid. Acetone, you know, all the ladies in this session here, you guys love to do your nails, right? That smell you smell when you walk past a nail salon, right? That's that acetone there. So, you know, it's commonly found in nail polish remover. It's also commonly found in paint thin remover. So, you know, a lot of us during this pandemic, we did a lot of renovations around our home, right? We try to find time to make use around our house. So that's definitely found in a lot of paint thinners and nail polish remover. Next is ethylbenzene. So ethylbenzene is used to really give the texture of paint. It's commonly found in pesticides. So that's one of the main ingredients that gives that coating factor to really coat the plants. So it's found in all these pesticides. So it's not healthy, right? I don't know if you guys shaking your heads but it's pretty gross. And wait till we see the next one. So formaldehyde. Formaldehyde is one that we all commonly know, but I'm not sure if you guys recognize or connect what formaldehyde is, but formaldehyde is used to preserve dead tissue or AKA meaning, so when someone passes away, they go to a funeral home, right? The embalmer would embalm the body with formaldehyde to preserve the loved ones in your family. So that way you can see or say your last goodbyes to them. So that's really that chemical that is used to preserve living tissues. And if you had any science labs before COVID and you dissected a frog and stuff, that smell is formaldehyde. And the biggest and most addictive ingredient is nicotine. It's found everywhere in all these things, and it commonly comes from a plant, the tobacco plant that's commonly used to put in cigarettes. And then last but not least is rubidium, and this is found it's a metal trace, and it's used to give it all those color effects, and it's used to put in the aerials and our fireworks. So it's something that we commonly like to play with when it comes to like 4th of July and New Year's Eve. So rubidium is one of the main ingredients to creating fireworks.
So crazy. That's a lot of different ingredients that you would never think would be consumable, but it is in an e-cigarette.
So this is an important part. So you see some of these e-liquid juice bottles on here, and we'll talk a little bit more about flavoring, but the aspect of the message I really want to emphasize on here is when it comes to nicotine amounts, a lot of these tobacco companies will sell products that are sold or labeled as just being a flavor and being nicotine free. I want to remind you folks that that is not true. Because this product is not FDA regulated, it means that these products are not true to what the label actually says because they're not being regulated by the federal government and the Drug Association. So, you know, when it comes to these products and how they're sold in the stores, they can get away with it because of that sense, but that doesn't make it any better. It actually makes it more scarier for our youth because they're drawn into the flavoring aspect, and they buy these products because it's just the flavoring and it's related to things that is stuff that they like like Captain Crunch cereal or Starburst, but they're actually consuming small traces of nicotine in it. And studies have shown that all these products have nicotine in them. And if you look back at the history of this, a lot of local e-cigarette companies, for example, in our state, a lot of these owners, they create these e-juices in their backyard. And you ask yourself, are they chemists? Are they certified chemists? Are they certified lab professionals where they can extract these? Do they have the proper equipment to really extract the nicotine out of these serums to create these e-juices that are labeled as nicotine free? No, right? So we have to really kind of step back and consider that the extra health risk factors that these things can come with because they are being made in their backyard per se. And then we'll also go a little bit more in depth about this too, but I think that's in module 4, but we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the health risks and the aspects that these products can have on you with e-cigarettes and vape. Sorry, I did not realize there's this much animations on this thing. Any questions so far? Okay, so just really quick, I want to emphasize the aspect of when these products came aware to us that they're been very dangerous, is that a lot of these youth or even young infants or you think about your younger brothers, sisters, or your nieces and nephews in the household, when they see things around the household like a little bottle that's has bright colors on it, it might have a picture of the actual candy that they like a gummy bear or something, they're going to think it's the actual candy, right? So a lot of the poison centers have been called in the cases that youth or young infants have been consuming the e-juices, that they would open the juice and they would drink it thinking that it's the candy that's labeled on the actual label. And there's been serious cases that they've been severely poisoned, and most of the calls have been coming in due to those products. So this is just a little snapshot of some data reporting from the CDC in regards to the poison center controls in regards to e-cigarettes. So this is like from 2010 to 2014. This is the era and the period that tobacco companies really exploded with e-cigarettes. So this is when popularity skyrocketed, and these products just kind of like blew up in the market, and you saw it everywhere in your community. So this really emphasizes how quickly and how dangerous these products have become as the years goes on. So you just imagine now in 2021 how much more these calls have increased. Okay, so this part I'm gonna turn it over to our youth leader, Kiala, and she's gonna share some things with you folks.
Hi everyone. So as you can see, this is a question about how are e-cigarettes and vape manufacturers reaching our young people like around my age or younger. So if you take a closer look at a e-cigarette or vape pen marketing, you'll notice the industry's attempts to make e-cigarettes, vape pens trendy and appealing to younger people.
Vaping is targeted towards young kids. I know in high school it's very common because it's easy to get their hands on. So I think it's very important not to, because it's just not good for your health.
Yeah, it is like targeted towards teens, and they have more easy access, I guess you can say, than cigarettes. So that's where they go to. I just know it's bad for your health, and we don't know the long-term effects of it in the future and what would happen to your lungs, really, because it is a pretty brand new thing.
This is just a little PSA to showcase what some of our youth know about vaping and how we are the ones being targeted. So in terms of flavors, besides the large aerosol clouds that can be made with e-cigarettes or vape pens, the 7,000 e-juice flavor options are a marketing strategy to lure new customers. This is a question for everyone, so you can answer it in the chat. Who do you think is most likely to be attracted by these flavor options? I think it's a pretty easy answer. We have dropped it several times now. Obviously, it's people that are younger. So it's no coincidence that flavorings in this tobacco product or tobacco products can make them more appealing, especially among the youth. Yes, because they're sweet. They're advertising candy essentially, but it's not candy. And so moving on to, the sweet or candy aspect of e-cigarettes, trendy products. And again, I wonder what age this is targeted to. And you'll see them pop up on the screen. There we go. Yeah. Clearly, the target audience for these types of products are, again, the youth. As you can see, we have some Hello Kitty vape pens, even some Marvel up in there, and Star Wars. Yeah.
Definitely, right? So as you can see, the marketing tobacco marketing companies know how to really target specific groups, right? You can have sports fans. You can be a diehard sports fan, like of someone like Cowboys, and Seahawks. So they really know how to target people from early age on. So these are scary tactics, and we'll kind of go over and over and over and share all the different examples. But this is really the key point that we want you to realize, the other side of what tobacco companies do, and how much money they pour into marketing strategies to really keep people hooked and addicted to their products.
The audio.
No audio, Malia.
Sorry.
I have a pen. I have an apple. Apple pen. I have a pen. I have pineapple. Pineapple pen. Apple pen. Pineapple pen. Pineapple apple pen. Pineapple apple pen.
This was another assignment that you're okay. As we did have a few assignments, more than a few assignments for our Instagram page to help spread awareness around e-cigarettes. So this was just another video showing that. And basically, as you saw, just, have some real fruits instead of e-cigarettes. They're a healthy alternative. Now I'll hand it back off to Mr. Blaine and Miss Malia.
Yes, thank you, Kiala. So here's another example of like how tobacco companies will also target specific sports teams and how they would utilize their events to give out free products and pass out at these events to keep people to try their products if they haven't tried it before. So this is an example of that. So this is the company Blue that I think looks like they targeted like a race sport event. So this is just some few snapshots of that. So in this next part, we're gonna go through what's really in these e-cigarettes. So we're gonna dive more deeper in the aspect of the aerosol versus the vapor aspect. So can click forward. So far, what have we covered? What's in the e-cigarette vape pens that we learned thus far? Really quick. Anyone?
So I hear that vapes are antifreeze, acetone, embalming fluid, nicotine, and fireworks that are not regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, that's saying it's nicotine free, and that's a lie.
Yes, there you go. Nice summary. Thank you to whoever that was. I apologize, I didn't see their name pop up on my screen, but thank you. Great summary. Perfect. Okay, right on. So again, this is just the anatomy of the cross section. Just a quick reminder. Malia's gonna click through it. The components of the e-juice, what it's really made of. And then us talking a little bit more and defining the aspect of what water vapor is versus gas and aerosol. So a gas, by definition, is a substance with indefinite expansion. When you let a gas out of a bottle, for example, it will usually keep spreading out until it fully, like if you think about balloon, when you blow gas in the balloon, the gas will keep filling the aspect until it reaches its max volume point, basically. Vapor is similar to gas, but it's not the same. What it does is that it works the same way, but it's not the same in that sense. So it's really that visible exhalation, such as a steam or fog that you see that may come out like a teapot. So it's something that you per se you can visually see versus you not seeing when it comes to gas. The important part about aerosol. So the thing that I want to talk or emphasize on with aerosol is really it's a mixture of liquid particles suspended in the air through a gas component. So instead of just mixing with the air like a pure gas, aerosols can leave behind droplets, so they stick to things. So when you think of things like COVID, right? They're spread through aerosol. The virus aspect is spread through aerosol and projectiles, and how they stick to things, right? They can stick to your phone, they can stick to your clothes, and that's kind of how the virus has been hopping from person to person, right? Same thing with when it comes to vape. It's not vapor that comes out of the product. People are blowing out the aerosol, so it tends to stick to things in the environment. So all these chemicals are sticking all over the place. There's a definition that I'm gonna introduce you folks to now. It's called third-hand smoke, and we'll share a little bit more about that aspect. But it's the sense of how this aerosol sticks to everything in environments and how people are more exposed to these chemicals in these products. And to give you a visual of it, to kind of help you guys, help it sink in, because I'm a person that likes to, I better learn with doing things hands-on and having the actual visuals. So as you can see, a spray bottle is spraying out the actual vapor versus the aerosol aspect and component. So think of like hairspray. You know how that all our ladies in here and men who like to keep our hair styled, right? So it's that aerosol component that sticks to our hair to help it stay firm and stiff in the place that we want. So do you think e-cigarette and vape pens create a vapor, a gas, or aerosol, right? We just discussed that it's none of the above, it is aerosol. So what is third-hand smoke? Does anyone want to take a guess at what third-hand smoke is? So I've kind of explained it, but if you can relate. Go
Is
ahead.
it when like it's just the particles are left around and then they get inhaled by someone who didn't even do it?
Yes, exactly correct. So third hand smoke is that component. Because right, when you think of secondhand smoke, what is secondhand smoke?
It's being like right next to the person while they're smoking, right?
Yes, exactly. It's you being literally next to the person that is smoking, and you are catching all the fumes from them and all that smoke from them. That is secondhand smoke. But the third hand smoke component is something that is actually just as dangerous because somebody can be smoking in an environment, they can leave, hours later, all those chemicals will still be sticking around in the environment. And another thing I want to point out about third hand smoke is that, we may have parents or people in our family that may be, considerate, and they'll go outside and smoke, right? And they'll do their thing outside in the yard. And then they'll come back thinking that it's okay because they didn't smoke in the house, they smoked outside. Well, they're actually bringing that back into the house because it's all stuck on their clothes and stuff. So that is an example of third hand smoke. Right on. Thank you. So this is just a little quick diagram that kind of emphasizes the aspect of secondhand smokes. That stands for SHAS. So that person is smoking, the girl reading the book is inhaling the fumes. And then the example of third hand smoke is the opposite, is when a smoker is smoking and then everything is sticking on the surfaces in the environment. And another animation for it. I also want to point out too, though, if you have pets at home and if you have any family members that do smoke, the third hand smoke also affects animals and it will also stick on them as well, their fur. Okie dokie. How's everyone doing? A lot of information? Can you keep going? Okay, so we're gonna talk about what's so bad about e-cigarettes and vape pens, right? Everyone's doing it in the community, right? So what's so bad about it? Well, let me tell you. We'll tell you about the effects of nicotine and how it has all these cool, but the physiological aspect and what it does to our body and how it really gets people addicted. So for those that don't know what nicotine is a drug, it's a stimulant. And what a stimulant means is it's a chemical process that stimulates the body to have an arousal feeling. So that's a stimulant to help change the behaviors of someone. It's highly addictive. It causes changes in the brain chemistry, so it really affects the aspect and development of the brain, especially for the youth. And it's found in all tobacco products. Where can you find nicotine? So here are some pictures of where nicotine is commonly found. This is a snapshot of the tobacco plant leaves. What they do is they harvest the tobacco leaves, they'll process it, they'll put it into the cigarettes. It's that brown leaves after they dry it. It's put into the hookah device there. It can be put into and extracted into the e-liquid juices. So these are all the different components that they have done in creating this product and how they've been adding nicotine to their ever-growing and ever-changing products. So nicotine in the brain is it's physiologically, it's a cool process on how these things really affect our brain and how it stimulates our brains and how it gets people to stay addicted to it. So the way that nicotine works is that it kind of attaches to all our brain cells and the neurons, and it has like a firework effect that happens in our body, and that's how people, when they consume tobacco products that have high concentrations of nicotine in it, they become more alert, they become more energetic, they become more calm. It's because the nicotine is firing off the dopamine levels in your brain. So the dopamine levels in your brain is the happy hormone, right? So it makes people feel happy, joyful, energetic and stuff. So that's what nicotine does. It really fires off those receptors in your brain that really gets you going. And that's where the addiction factor comes, is because our body is producing so much of that dopamine levels, and it's getting everything so excited in our brain that once the nicotine is gone, we're not getting flooded with that dopamine levels in our brain. So it kind of makes your body want to crave more and have that same effects of when you're on nicotine, and letting your brain get that floodedness of all that dopamine in there. So that's kind of where the addiction factor comes from, nicotine, and how it affects our brains. So a thing I want to emphasize on is, because it's scary for our youth, because we're still young, you guys are still developing, and when people are addicted to these kinds of things, it really affects the development of your brain. So as you get older, your brain becomes harder physiologically to develop and fully mature in that sense. So it affects different things in your brain and the physiological aspects of it. So it can really affect like your short-term memory, can affect your long-term memory in that sense. So it's really key to understand how important it is, and really enjoy your youthful years, because this is essential for you guys as you guys grow older, because you guys are going to be smart people, you guys are going to be future lawyers, you guys are going to be future doctors, you guys are going to be future whatever it is, you guys are going to make a big difference in our community. So remind yourselves about that. These things that, because they're sold in the market, does not necessarily mean that it's safe. It's still considered a drug, and it's still considered a stimulant. So I want you guys to think about that in that sense. And if you really think about it, these tobacco companies, they don't care about your health. All they care about is you just constantly being addicted to the products and constantly buying these products, right? And if you know anyone that consumes these products aren't cheap. Like, I think nowadays an average pack of cigarettes is like $11. So you imagine people who smoke a pack a day, right? That's like $11 times 7. So, and then times that by 4, and then times that by 12 months, right? So you can really break down the math on how much people are really putting into these companies and investing in these companies, because they're so addicted to their products. And here's just a little cycle animation of how it shows like what nicotine is when it's being consumed, and how it's in our brains and in our bodies when it's in our bloodstream, and then how the cycle has to be repeated for that person to want to get that stimulant feeling again. So nicotine does not only affect our brains, it also affects other aspects in our body. It affects our lungs. It affects our digestive system. So these things are important because, if you think about it, when someone who has asthma or someone who doesn't have asthma, right? They're consuming these products. You're making your lungs work harder. The lungs are like the filters of our body. It adds the oxygen in our blood and all that sense. So when you think about the physiological aspects of that and the importance of that, it causes more health risks, because if one organ starts to shut down, the other organs in your body has to compensate and have to work extra harder, right? In that sense. So you start to make your body work harder because you're putting these products in your body that's affecting one organ, and then it has a trickling effect, right? So it can cause people to have high blood pressure, can cause people to develop bronchitis, asthma. And if you already have these types of health issues, it's not good to be on these products, because you only make it worse. And then when it comes to your digestive tract, it really affects all that stuff as well. I kind of pause on that, and I want to say, like, when literature comes out, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out, especially with the e-cigarette and vape products, that they're finding so much more stuff that these products have been affecting. It's been affecting people with cancer. They've been finding more cancer causing things linked to these products, like with women with their ovaries and stuff being the reproductive system being affected by these products, and how that's been linked to causing ovarian cancer and stuff. So it's not really just the lungs aspect of it. It's really affecting all parts of our bodies. And here's we'll give some examples of like specific effects of flavorings, and that's kind of like with the aspect of what they use chemical wise to mimic the actual flavorings of these products to give it that sense. So here's just a quick reminder of all the various flavors that's are on the market right now. It's forever growing. You know, like that chicken waffles that sounds good right now. You know, there's all types of things that's on the market that really gets people hooked. Okay, so here's a great example. So when it comes to cinnamon flavorings that they've been putting in the e-juices, they use the chemical called cinnamaldehyde. It's like 2-mexyl cinnamaldehyde kind of structure. And if you look at it, it has like all these cool rings on it and stuff. I may have butchered that word, but these are synthetic flavorings, and because there are more chemicals to it, mixed with other chemicals that's already in the product. When you think about it, when they go through the whole like chemistry reaction aspect, when they go through the combustion reaction part, when it's being heated, the molecules are being modified, right? And it's being consumed in our body. So at that point, these products are different. The molecules change. So that's what causes reactions in our bodies. And individually, we all have our own reactions to certain things. So these things can lead to cancers and other health effects and all that stuff. And then also the benzaldehyde chemical that was in Kiala's PSA video. So this is a main ingredient that companies have been using to give that cherry flavor. And the list can go on. By a show of hands, how many of you folks have heard about popcorn lung? Right? Did you think it was something real? Did you think it was something made up? So popcorn lung is real. It was actually discovered by a lab at the Harvard University, the medical school, and it was the first published article. And I was actually intrigued by the name of it, popcorn lung, and I was like, oh wow, like a disease called popcorn lung. So it made me interested. So in short, what it does is that it causes fluid-like sacs in your lungs to fill up, and when they eventually fill up, they burst. So they pop like popcorn. And then they found that individuals would have all these holes in their lungs. And that's kind of like how they call it popcorn lung, because of the aspect of the cells are filling up with this fluid and they're eventually bursting and popping like popcorn. So the back history on this and how this was discovered is the chemical diacetyl. So diacetyl is one of the common components that's used to create the e-juices. It's one of the main ingredients to, how do I say this? To give that serum-like texture to the e-juices. That's what helps soak the cotton per se in the mod devices and gets it all coated nicely on that. So that's what diacetyl ingredient is commonly used for in all these e-juices. So the history about that is diacetyl is an ingredient commonly used in microwave popcorn. So I don't want you guys to be scared about the microwave popcorn. If you love to eat microwave popcorn, I love to eat microwave popcorn with munchy crunch and butter and added salt. So you don't have to worry about that. It's a common ingredient used in microwave popcorn that gives it that buttery flavor taste. So that's what diacetyl is. But when it goes to, disclaimer, when it goes through the whole processing of the microwave popcorn, it becomes a new molecule, as I shared before, and it's processed differently. So it is healthy to consume. But those that were working in a factory that sells microwave popcorn, they were inhaling this ingredient raw, in that sense that because they're working with it, they're putting it in the packaging, they're making the products to sell in the boxes and stuff. The factory workers were consuming or breathing in the diacetyl chemicals. So they were finding that the workers were having like this pneumonia thing, and when they investigated it more, they found that it was linked to diacetyl, and that when they did all these investigation and chest ray scans and x-rays, they found that these individuals had all these pukas in their lungs, and they thought it was tuberculosis, but it really wasn't. So it was, long story short, it was linked to the chemical diacetyl that's used in e-cigarettes, and they have linked it to the clinical studies that shown that people who were having the same effects from from consuming vape pens and e-cigarettes were linked to the chemical diacetyl. So that's how the disease popcorn lung came about. So that's just a little fun fact and history of it. So popcorn lung is a real thing, and that's how it came about, because of how it's been affecting people. Scary. So the effects on health, right? Like these tobacco companies, again, they don't care about our health. All they care about is making that money. And again, just to reiterate, you know, it affects all parts of our body, mainly our lungs, mainly our heart, our digestive tract, and our brains. Any questions? Okay. So I want to talk about how vaping and everything that's happening with COVID go hand in hand in some sense. So when you think about it, people who smoke and people who are on vape pens, it's the same thing, right? So you think about it, they're making their immune system work harder. They're making their bodies work harder. They're putting themselves at higher risk of contracting COVID. So you have to think about it. The healthier our lungs is, the healthier our immune system is, the healthier our bodies is, the more that our system can be ready to fight off COVID in the case that we do come in contact with it, right? And as we learned before, COVID only has one mission, and that one mission is to just replicate and reproduce. That's all the virus does. It doesn't discriminate against anyone. And all it wants to do is accomplish its mission. So just really talk about the aspect and how you're more at higher risk for contracting COVID and how it's pretty much quadrupled at that point. So knowing what we know so far about e-cigarettes and the point that we're at right now, before I think we're gonna go into a little short break, why do you think teens choose to use these products? Whether you personally know someone, you don't have to say their names, or if you could take a guess of why you think they're drawn to these products or use the products. Yep, so people see them, other people doing it, they want to be cool. Yep, so that goes up along the aspect of peer pressure, right? What else? They are attracted to the flavors. They are addicted. Yes, that's a big one. They're addicted because they're attracted to the flavors. They are curious. The marketing of it. Yes, exactly. You guys are all correct. Yep, that's a good point. People are battling depression, right? And this is because of the physiological aspect of what nicotine does to our brains. People who are battling depression, right? They're getting that flood of dopamine, so it's really making them break out of that thing, and they're using this as a coping mechanism. That's a good part. That's a good point. I never thought of that. The parents of being grown up. Never thought of that. It's a great point. Thank you. Right on. You guys are right on with everything coming in the chat. And the list could keep going, right? Okay.
So thank you so much, Blaine. We want to take this time to give everyone a water break, shishi break, intermission time. If you want to go ahead and do what you got to do for the next 5 minutes. We'll see everybody at about 7:13, and we'll be right back on with continuing our session. Thanks again. If anyone wants to hang out and chat, we're here to hang out and chat with you as well. Sorry, I'm trying to look for some music. Stop the music. All right. If you guys can make your way back, we're going to go ahead and start part 2. Hopefully you guys were able to grab some water and a snack or dinner. And we will go ahead and start this second session with an activity. So hopefully you guys can turn on your cameras, engage with us. This game is called Heads or Tails. And we do have a gift card prize for the winner or winners. We'll see how this plays out. So everyone on screen, if you guys can turn your cameras on, in order to participate for the prize, we do need to see your lovely faces. Okay. And I'm gonna ask my teammates here, Blaine and Keala, to help us keep score and watch and see in the audience if who we have trickling down as we go. So the object of Heads or Tails is for you to match me. So you can either be the shark. So everyone do the shark with me. You will be the shark, or you will be the fish. Here's our fish. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my camera. I'm gonna count to 3. And when I turn my camera back on, if you match me, you are still in the game. If you don't match me, you will turn your camera off, okay? So let's see who's gonna be our Heads or Tails finalists. All right, I don't know if everyone is on, but I do see quite a few people. Thank you for participating. Okay, so everyone, this will be a trial round. No one will be eliminated. That way everyone kind of gets the game. So go ahead and on the count of 3, make your motion, okay? Again, we have shark or fish. All right. 1, 2, 3. If you were a fish, you are still in the game. If you were a shark, you turn off your cameras. Okay, so that was our practice round. Everyone got the object of the game. Your cameras can all turn right back on. We'll keep everyone in this activity. So here we go. Officially, we will start on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Do we have any fish? No fish. Oh my gosh. Okay, ready? Round 2. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Okay, if you're a shark, you're still in the running. Okay. I have 5 people, 6 people on. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Shark or goldfish? If you're a goldfish, you are eliminated. I think I have a winner in this round.
I think you
Miss
do
B,
too.
congratulations. B Worrell, we will, if you can type your email in the chat, we will send you your gift card by email. This one, round 2, is for our youth contestants only. So all you youth, if you can turn on your cameras, we will do one more round. Keala, you're able to play in this one as well if you would like. All of our youth contestants. Okay. Here we go. Round 2. 1, 2, 3. If you're a fish, you are still in. Sorry, bye-bye, sharkies. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh, what happened? Nobody's eliminated. We will bring you back on, the 4 of you who were sharks. I know I had 4 sharks. Okay, we will do this again. Ready? 1, 2, 3. If you are a shark, you are in still. Hold up your sharks. Yeah, I have 3. Okay, one more round. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. No one's eliminated. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I think I have a winner. Anya Grant, congratulations, Anya. If you can type your email in the chat. Congratulations, Anya and B. We will send you your gift cards by email. Thanks for participating, guys. I hope you had some fun. We always like to mix up some fun with some serious business. And we are going to jump straight into our next module. So a lot of this part and our next part is going to be discussion. So really, if you would like to type in a chat, you're welcome to do that. If not, you can also unmute yourself and talk out loud. So you guys mentioned at the tail end of our last session why you think people your age choose to smoke. And so we want to talk a little bit about what's the appeal and the reason why people choose to vape and use e-cigarettes. So most of this was in our last discussion, but you guys mentioned a lot of great things there. Now we want to ask the youth, why do you think adults use e-cigarettes or vape pens? You guys can type it in the chat. For stress relief, maybe just quit smoking regular cigarettes. Yes. Any other thoughts about why adults use e-cigarettes? out of habit. I think adults use e-cigarettes because they get stressed from work and they think it's fun and addicting. Yeah. So how does an adult's social environment influence them to smoke? Or how could someone's job affect their choice to smoke? Do you guys see things like on social media that prompt people to want to choose to smoke e-cigarettes? Have you seen any advertisements going out that are targeting maybe the adult population? Pop culture, definitely. Famous people out there who might be smoking, actors, actresses, musicians. So one of the sayings is monkey see, monkey do, right? If it looks cool to them and the way they advertise it, it's easier to get for an adult. Very true. So why do you think people your age don't use e-cigarettes or vape? And I might be speaking to some of you who don't vape, but what's the reason why you think people your age choose not to vape or use e-cigarettes? They know the effects. It still has nicotine. It's not healthy. People my age don't vape because it can affect their health. Yeah, so you're less likely really because of this health education bit and understanding the truth and the reality behind what's inside of an e-cigarette, like Mr. Blaine had talked about in part 1. You're now capable of understanding what's going into your mouth, and it doesn't seem like something you would want to do because you know really what the truth is and what's behind it. The manufacturers decide to put inside of them. So what do you notice about the responses? Were there any similarities or differences that stood out to you between adults, youth, someone who's a youth who chooses to smoke, an adult who chooses to smoke? Did anyone notice any similarities? Yeah, so some of it is the marketing, yeah. Stress, addiction, the cool factor. And so the e-cig companies and the big tobacco, they really hone in and study people and understand what causes them to be hooked. And they look at these factors like the socioeconomic issues that a lot of different populations are facing. So for us, you know, the Native Hawaiian population, the African American population, we're facing different types of issues, and so they have many times focused on what's a way that we can hook this type of population in this generation to want to be addicted to the nicotine and these e-cigarette products. So some of the brands behind these new products, actually the same corporations produced the original cigarettes. So they've put a new makeup, a new mask on top of the look to make it aesthetically pleasing to the eye, so that your generation is really the one who's going to be targeted in this new advertisement. So you can see that the company that sells blue, Marlboro sells Mark 10, and Camel sells Views. So these are replacing the older products. And just like they put a new face on it, who's gonna replace the old smokers? Yeah, I see a comment. I agree 100% because kids and adults will try to use vaping as coping skills so they cannot deal with the stuff that they are going through. Definitely. And so imagine if you will, being a big tobacco company, the executive and all the customers look like this. So now they're starting to realize that the older population are dying off. The people during World War II, when they mass marketed smoking amongst our soldiers and mass marketed amongst our different populations statewide, they had focus on doctors and doctors and and models and different types of groups. So the young people is going to be replacing this. Yeah, and that's you guys. So they've put a new mask on it, and they're really trying to focus on what's going to be profitable in the long term. So e-cigarettes is that solution. Because people know the long-term effects of cigarettes, a lot of people are not starting to smoke as a young person. E-cigarettes are new and they don't know the long-term effects, so they kind of can hide behind that mask. So this is the cool look, the young people your age, like Mr. Blaine had mentioned, these vaping competitions and just the way that it looks. When someone smokes a cigarette, there's a puff and it kind of goes away, but these vape pens are creating these big clouds, and it really has an appeal because it looks cool. So these are a few quotes from the big tobacco companies. And I just want to read it out loud to you so you can kind of better understand. So today's teenager is tomorrow's potential regular customer, and the overwhelming majority of smokers first begin to smoke while in their teens. At least part of the success of Marlboro Red during its most rapid growth period is because it became the brand of choice among teenagers who then stuck with it as they grew older. So these were in 1981. The ability to attract new smokers and develop them into a young adult franchise is key to brand development. They represent tomorrow's cigarette business. As this 14 to 24 age group matures, they will account for key shares in the total cigarette volume for at least the next 25 years. So before I do that, I just want to kind of throw this question out there, but how do you feel hearing these statements from the big tobacco as a teenager and as a youth? How does that make you feel? Any thoughts? Singled out? Thanks, Kiala. It makes me feel like they're just using us for their benefit. Thank you, Jazz. It's sad because they know how society works. They are trying to get you addicted for profit. Yeah, so you're just a number. That's really what they're looking at you as. You're a consumer, you're money in their pocket. They really don't care if you have a name and a face and a family. So these are the marketing strategies that we're starting to see recycled and reused. So you can see on the left the 1941 ad that now looks very similar to the 2013 ad. This is it again. Here's another example. So what are the similarities that you're seeing, and who do you think the audience is in this picture here, in this advertisement? Soldiers. Thanks, Tamara. Yeah, so do we see a lot of places that look like this in 2013? They've kind of just cleaned it up and made it look a little bit different. But young adults and teens, yeah, great examples. Thank you, guys. So we're kind of going to take some time to deconstruct and help you guys really see how they target and advertise strategically. So what is an advertisement that you really like, or one that really annoys you? I want to put some answers in the chat. Does anyone know of advertisements? It can be any type of product that you've seen a commercial for that stands out. You can type it in the chat before we reveal some of our advertisements. Stop vaping ads. Yeah, I always think of this one, and we talk about it in our youth group. The Jeans Warehouse radio ad. At Jeans Warehouse. Have you heard that one? So if you guys watch the Super Bowl, a lot of times they advertise. Wonderful advertisements go out during the Super Bowl, and they're super hilarious. So these are a few that I think might stand out to you. We see Coca-Cola, Subway, Snickers, Flow from Progressive. And so they look at these advertisements and they kind of flip it and make it appealing in the same way, a way that would be memorable for people in the audience. So what are some things that these types of ads have in common? Any thoughts? They use well-known people or cartoons. Thank you, Anya. They have humor. Yeah, I think there's a few Doritos commercials that I will never forget. They're ingrained in my memory because of the way that they made me laugh. They have different settings related to the product. Yeah, the cold environment for Coca-Cola. Yeah, good example. Oh, did someone want to say something? And so $88.1 million is spent on advertising for for the tobacco industry to try and hook people into their products. And that's a crazy amount of money, but they're willing to put that much money into advertising for the profit that hooking somebody for their whole life brings in. So again, who's the target audience? We're going to go through deconstructing some of the advertisements, and we want to hear from you guys. And we're going to show you a few examples of how what advertisements are going out in the magazines and on TV. So this was a creme brulee advertisement. It's putting out the flavoring, but it's very pretty. And these are actually the pod cartridges that get inserted into the Juul and mods. This is advertising the holidays and the combination here. So what do you think stands out to you here? Why would you want to consume something after looking at this advertisement? The hot cocoa. It makes me feel cozy. The Christmas feeling. Yeah. So really the holiday feel and the way that makes people feel. So hooking into and utilizing the holidays to grab somebody. But I would never put strawberry and hot cocoa together. That might have been a flaw or something I wouldn't have done in combination. So what about this advertisement? Who do you think is our target audience? Yeah, young adults. And this person looks very happy, maybe college age. These are the Juul, and Juul is really made sleek and looks like a USB drive and is so portable and easy. People who are active, people who are addicted, yeah. So going off the active ad, this was actually, they used the Nike to advertise these. And it looks like nail polish to me, but these are also pod refills in flavoring. And then help a smoker switch to Juul. So they're trying to advertise people to what? Who's the target audience in this image? Cigarette smokers, yeah, definitely. So it's the people who are currently smoking that they're trying to tell them that smoking a Juul or an e-cigarette device is going to be healthier for you. But based on the information that Mr. Blaine had mentioned, that's not the case, right? We understand that e-cigarettes are just as harmful, if not more harmful, because people are consuming them at much faster rates than they are regular cigarettes. This is a danger, and they're trying to help you think that you're getting a deal. You give $15, you get $15. So marketing to parents, couples, people who smoke together. Pack the essentials. So whenever we go on a trip, we make sure we have everything that we need. But making people think that Juul is a necessity and something that must be packed and have on hand. And here we have that sleek aesthetic look again. So surprise your love with a jewel for Valentine's Day. So a little play on words. A lot of times us ladies, we like the chocolates and the flowers and the jewelry. So this is really targeting women and or men as the purchaser, but women as the consumer. Happy Valentine's Day. Cozy up with Jewel. So these are a few of the reconstructed counter to what was advertised that some of our organizations put together. And so instead of the creme brulee, we have here propylene glycol and benzoic acid. Sounds more like a science experiment than a dessert. So trying to go and counter what big tobacco does. It's not all chocolate and flowers with nicotine. Give your loved one something else. Not the heart racing feeling I was looking for. Give your loved one something more. Only one of these produces water vapor. So helping people understand the difference. So we have an activity that we want you guys to participate in. 2 truths and a myth. We want you to identify which one in our group is a myth. So if you can write in the chat which one you think is a myth, and then we can kind of have fun with this activity. So 2 truths and a myth. Many e-cigs do not contain nicotine. People can experience secondhand exposure to the vapor released from e-cigs. The mist released from e-cigs is similar to fog machine mist. So which one is the myth?
They all got it before you started reading it.
The answer is e-cigs do not contain nicotine. The amount of nicotine it contains can also be misleading. Research shows the amount of nicotine advertised can be a lot more or a lot less than what it's really advertised as. 2 truths and a myth. I will retain, and I think you guys got the memo here. If you want to write in the chat which one is a myth. So despite what the industry says, e-cigs produce aerosol, not vapor. So the difference between aerosol and vapor is that vapor is 100% liquid, while aerosol carries tiny bits of solid with it. Two truths and a myth. You guys are quick. E-cigs cannot be used anywhere. In fact, many regulations ask e-cigarette users to respect the same laws that the states follow. So in our state, we actually are and I think Mr. Blaine can elaborate, in our college systems, and we're one of the only states to have a smoke-free college campus, and you have to be within 20 feet away from both bus stops and buildings. So it's, if you've ever been to Las Vegas or other places in the mainland, that's not always the case. So we actually have the cleanest air, and it's awesome that our state supports this health endeavor. Two truths and a myth. We got some mixed answers here. So those who answered 3 was right. The water does not clean the smoke or remove any toxic chemicals. In fact, the water cools down the smoke, allowing it to go deep into the lungs, causing more damage. The charcoal also contains toxins not found in tobacco alone, such as benzene, which can cause leukemia. Two truths and a myth. You guys are so smart. Yes, the FDA does not regulate the chemical ingredients and labels. So the amount of differences and chemicals that can be used to make e-juices, the cleanliness of facilities that produce e-juice. So these are the things that they don't regulate. So they could be lying on the label. We don't really know if it's not FDA regulated. So those that say 0 nicotine on them, a lot of times when they were tested in the labs, they actually did contain nicotine. So I wanted to give Keala a chance to share a little bit before we end, and we really appreciate her making time and all of you guys making time to hear us and learn a little bit about vaping. So Keala, if you want to share.
Hi again. This is just the logo that I had helped to make in collaboration with our group. The abbreviation NOHPP stands for Na-Opio Ho'okipukipaka, which just means Youth Against Vape, or tobacco, Youth Against Tobacco. And so the wave in this represents kind of like clean air, and because most of our oxygen comes from the ocean, along with our, where we come from, because, we're from Waianae, which white is vice. So like, we're water people. A lot of us go to the beach. That was my other reason for including the wave in there. And yeah, that's pretty much a little bit about our logo and what it represents.
So we do have our social media site, and this is youth driven, like our interns you saw in our first video. So if you guys want to follow and become a part of this youth movement for helping our state to quit vaping and really get the message out so less people will be impacted, their health will be better. So please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. New health. This concludes our presentation. Thank you so much again for having us. Does anyone have any questions? I did have in the chat, someone asked me what the password for the registration was, and I want to go back to that slide really quick. But
I think they messaged me too. I sent it to them. It's healthy 2021 exclamation mark.
Does anyone else have any questions? Thank you, Blaine.
But also, if they change their system and they allowed you to create your own password, that's okay too.
All right, this was a late Tuesday night, but we hope you guys enjoyed meeting with us, learning a few new things about electronic smoking devices, ESD, and hopefully you guys can spread the word and share it with a family member or a friend who you know who is currently vaping. The Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center does offer free tobacco cessation for anyone over the age of 18. And we also do telehealth services for that. So if you know anybody who is interested in quit smoking, please send them our way. We're more than happy to work with them as tobacco treatment specialists and as community members in the state. So if you do need to get in contact with us, this is our information, and we're more than happy to help a family member save a life and help them to stay with our families longer. For me, I had an uncle and my grandfather. They passed away from lung cancer, and it's really unfortunate when a family member is lost because of something that could have been prevented. So really the choices that we make can affect us long term, and we're here to help support you guys through this. And that's life, and we want to help you guys make good decisions. So again, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, a great big thank you on behalf of the Hawaii Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated to Malia, Blaine, and Kayala for just sharing with us your time and your expertise and your knowledge in regards to this subject matter. We greatly appreciate you participating in our May Week this week. Thank you to all our youth participants tonight. We greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your night to spend a little bit of time with us to learn about vaping. It sounds like the majority of you all are already saying no to vaping. Just make sure you continue to spread the word. A lot of you seem to know a lot of the harmful effects and the disadvantages of of vaping. So just keep doing the wonderful things that you are doing. To everyone else, thank you for joining in as well. To my sorority sisters, thank you for supporting our chapter events as always. Sora Da Silva, do you have anything at all that you would like or need to say before we close out this event?
No, Sora, you did a great job. And thank you to everybody for your presentation and your commitment to stopping vaping. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Once again, thank you, thank you, thank you. I pray everybody have a blessed and wonderful evening or night. And until next time, have a good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.